Hey everyone, welcome to the analytics section sync on the 22nd of January. I have the first talking point today. I wanted to kind of raise awareness around it again, although it's I think we already had it in our channel. Just wanted to make sure that we don't that we clear everything out that there is there to discuss about the snowplow license changes. So I don't know how much detail everyone read about this. I just wanted to kind of give a short overview. So Snowplow changed the license on their main components. They announced it in a blog post. Main components include the collector and enricher, which are the two components that we actually use within Prod Analytics right now. And they changed it to a limited use license. So they introduced this new kind of license. They didn't have that before. Called the Snowplow Limited Use License. And what it boils down to is that you're not allowed to use whatever component that is under that license for creating a competitor and for high availability use cases. And high availability, they define as you're running more than one instance of that component at the same time. So we're kind of doing both. Which also means the fact that it's doing this with a high availability, this change also affects the existing old Snowplow pipeline, not even only our product analytics use case, but also the old ones. What's important to note is that the collector and enricher are affected, the SDKs are not. They even state that within the blog post that the SDKs are going to remain under Apache license or whatever other real open source license they're under. I think it depends a bit on the specific SDK, but all of them are under some kind of open source license that allows you to use it in the way we're doing it right now. There's no need to update directly. They just released, I think for the enricher, there's not even a version out with the new license yet. For the collector, there is. It's an internal rewrite where they're using a new HTTP library, but I don't think that we have any, we weren't planning to update to that new version. There's no kind of features or something that we would really like to have or anything like that. So there's no time pressure for us to upgrade and therefore resolve this issue within, I don't know, the next week, something like that. As you kind of could expect with a established project like Snowplow, there's already a fork for it. Potentially there's more. I didn't really kind of go into detail there. One, I think Sam found, which got a bit more publicity, is from a company called Snowcat. Snowcat is a smaller company that does kind of Snowplow as a service. So if you want to run a Snowplow pipeline, you don't have to do it yourself. You can ask Snowcat to do that, and they'll do it for you. And I don't know, potentially maybe cheaper than Snowplow themselves, or whatever reason you have to go with Snowcat instead of Snowplow. They forked the collector and enricher, and are saying that they're committed to maintaining it. But I think we have to keep in mind it's a small company. So I think it's mainly the founder that has been doing those kinds of things. The outcome for now is, I think what's important to note, and I think Halil already catched one of those, is that we don't update the enricher or collector right now automatically or anything like that. We need to be careful that we don't, out of habit or something, run into an upgrade and on an automatic one that then creates licensing issues. That's the main thing that everyone needs to keep in mind for now. When you see any kind of upgrade on the analytics stack or the dev kit for that matter, please check the licenses and don't just press merge because it's nice to have an upgrade. Yeah, I think that's the outcome for now. Dennis, you already have a question.
Yeah, I was just curious if analytics instrumentation, apologies, I might have to mute because my throat's not doing great. If we have any recommendations as far as like mid or long term, I guess what we may want to see how the open source forks are doing, or if we'll want to eventually contribute to them. I say that specifically because I know we're using a separate image for like the collector that goes into Kafka. So I don't know if that's what Snowcat's focused on, since they've explicitly called out like what they're looking to kind of maintain as part of the collector. But was just curious if it's too early to say what we want to do kind of mid or long term, or we just kind of want to wait and see what happens for a little.
So from my perspective, because I think I've been the main one that's kind of looked into this for now, is that we, on the one hand, we should definitely start talking to Snowplow anyway. So that's something I already discussed with Tanuja and Sam, to just start a talk. So because I mean, you're not completely prohibited from doing anything with it. It's just they want to have money, and it's very likely that at least for the product analytics use case, it could be prohibitively expensive, or they would even say completely no to that because it's in essence building a competitor. But I still think so we should do that and start talking to them just to figure out maybe there is an avenue, and maybe it's not that expensive. I don't know, just to kind of rule that path out. On the other hand, my personal opinion, or what I've seen so far, is that Snowplow, this software itself, is very stable, and is very battle hardened. So I don't see a reason to switch away from it, especially since there is Snowcat now. I think it could be an opportunity for us, especially if we're like continuing to use Snowplow, to get a bit more involved, and potentially take a deeper look into, is it only Snowcat? Are there other open source forks? And kind of put our weight behind one of those, and support with, I mean, we don't have Scala knowledge right now, but for example, in the case of Snowcat, there's no automatic creation of Docker images. So those are things that we can also help with and do. And at the same time, since again, I mean, Snowplow has been around for a long time. Our Snowplow enricher and collector on our main pipeline is multiple years old version-wise. We're talking to infrastructure since longer time to get it upgraded. But it just shows to you that it just chugged along. It's like one of these established cars that doesn't look fancy, but it does its job, kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely doesn't feel like there's any urgent push to do anything right now. So that's, I mean, based on your outcome for now, I think that's totally fine. I was just curious if there were any first impressions. And that's why I wasn't specifically calling out as well, like moving away from Snowplow, just because there's no telling that some other solution will do the same thing with their license at some point in the future. And to your point, like, yeah, we've been using structured events for a while, and that's a very outdated and all that kind of stuff. So like we're gonna be fine for a while. But yeah, just wanted to get your impressions on it. Thank you. I did call out also if we should be like pinning the versions on the collector enricher and devkit and analytics stack. Rob, you've already mentioned that. Do you want to verbalize your point?
Yeah, just as a neat little feature of Renovate Bot, if you close an MR, it will ignore that upgrade forevermore, the entire like upgrade pipeline, and will allow you to skip a generation, which is quite nice. So at least on the dev kit side of things, it's automatically now going to ignore any 3.0 whatever upgrades. But I agree with Dennis. We should probably be very transparent and lock these version numbers in our relevant files.
Yeah, if we can lock it and maybe call it out somewhere. I don't know if you can comment directly on the I think you can on the chart YAMLs, but we can at least just be very clear, like, do not change these. And then analytics stack should be mirroring devkit anyway, so that it shouldn't get ahead of devkit at that point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
I assume we can upgrade within the version 2 Semver environment. We just can't go to free. Is that correct? So any new bug fixes or whatever that come out, we can push those. We just can't hit free. Okay.
but that's specific to the collector. The enricher is already on version 3. And again, I don't think there's at least last time I checked, there wasn't even a version out with the new licensing changes. I would assume whatever new kind of version they come up with, probably 4 or something, of the enricher, might already then have the new license. So I don't think like enricher and collector have like separate versioning strategies on their side. It's not like, I don't know, 2.9 on the enricher goes with 2.9 on the collector or anything like that. They're completely separate. So we need to also look at them separately. But I think it's a good point to add a comment on the relevant lines in, I think it should work in both, right? In the Docker Compose YAML files and in the Helm YAML files.
Yeah.
To call out, like, please don't upgrade this without checking. And I can quickly do this afterwards.
Thanks, Basti.
Do we have anything else regarding that? Otherwise, I think Halil has a point, but you wanted to make it async, right?
Yeah, I already got some response, so I think that we are fine now. Yeah.
I think then that's it. Right. Thanks everyone for attending this rest of the day.
Have a good week.
That's fine.
All right.